Hello and welcome to this training on weight loss. Welcome, welcome. My name is Katrina Horn. I'm a wellness and life coach and a nutritionist. And I wanted to share my 3 steps to weight loss with you today. So I hope you're all in. I'm going to dive straight into the content. I want to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to go a little bit quickly. Feel free to take notes. I'm going to share my screen with you sometimes, and you can either take notes or you can take a screenshot. My intention is that you will be presented with so many very tangible tools and action steps for you to dive in today. So at the end of this training, I really hope that you will be implementing one or more of these steps that I'm going to present to you, because if you benefit from the momentum we've got going here, well, then you've got your subconscious on board, because right now I've got your attention, haven't I? Or at least I hope I do. So if you build on that, if you build on this momentum that we've got going here, well, then your action steps are going to be much easier to put in place. You'll be much more inspired. So instead of waiting for later, like saying, oh, I might do that tomorrow, just go ahead and immediately start applying some of the stuff that you learn here today. So if you're here live, you're of course free to participate via the chat. I won't be answering questions as we go along. I think I'll just save them for the end. So if you stay on till the end, you can ask me very specific questions about what I've presented, and of course, your weight loss journey, so that this be of maximum use to you. But as I say, I wanted to just dive into the presentation so that you won't have the impression of wasting your time. I want every second you spend with me to be of value. And as I said, I want you to take action right now. If there's some things you didn't really quite get, you can always go back to it, because we will be sending out a replay as soon as possible. And again, it's for that, to keep that momentum going. If you're feeling motivated right now, then we want you to be able to take advantage of that, really, and then give it your all. So I hope you're good. I hope you're ready to go. So let's dive straight in. I'm going to present you with my 3 steps to weight loss, because weight loss needn't be complicated, right? And everybody can lose weight, everybody. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Some of you are going to argue with me and say, well, I've tried everything. And you might feel you've tried everything, but I hope you're with me when I say that if you stopped eating for 3 months, right, you would lose weight. We don't want to stop eating for 3 months. I'm not saying you have to do that at all, but our problems with losing weight really come from the fact that we want to fit it into our lifestyle. And there's some things we can do that other things we can't do. So really what we're going to look at today is what you can do, not what your neighbor can do or what your sister or friend can do, but what fits into your lifestyle, right? That is really what we want for you. So let me just share my screen. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, as I say, and I'll get to them at the end. So you're in the right place if, and I'm sure all of you have been feeling some of this at some point, if you feel tempted and unable to resist your favorite food, or if you're eating too much, too often, if you're eating all the wrong things that you know are not part of your weight loss journey, if you hate exercise, the good news is you don't have to exercise to lose weight. If you're telling yourself that I don't know what's not working, right? You may have a few clues here as to why it might not be working. And maybe you've got the impression that you're doing all the right things, but you're not getting the results. And I remember being in that place. It's a long time ago. I won't talk a lot about me, but I used to be overweight, especially when I was a teenager. And that was terrible for me. I made it mean that I was really not worth the effort. And I had the impression of doing all the right things, and it wasn't working. So I hope this will be inspiring for you if you're in any of these cases. My first step is to balance your blood sugar. So I'm diving into the content now. Feel free to make screenshots or take notes if you want to. And blood sugar could perhaps a vague notion for you, unless of course you've got diabetes. Let me just remind you that blood sugar just means that it refers to the amount of energy that you've got circulating in your bloodstream. And your blood sugar really controls your hunger, your cravings, your energy levels, your mood. So when you balance your blood sugar, it can keep your brain healthy, so you avoid that brain fog that you could be feeling. It keeps your energy level stable and your mood stable, right? So blood sugar is just the amount of energy available to you in your bloodstream. Every time you eat something, you secrete insulin. So you secrete particularly great amounts of insulin when you eat either carbohydrates, carbs, or refined sugar. So whether you're eating oatmeal or refined sugar, you are having your body secrete a lot of insulin. That is all well and good, no problem here, except of course if you become resistant to insulin when you've got diabetes. So that means when you're resistant to insulin, means that you've lost the sort of key, because when you are filling up your bloodstream with energy in the form of sugar, your bloodstream is putting it into all the cells in your body so that they can just get on with it. They can go on and repair themselves. They can fuel your energy. This is how it's supposed to work. Only if you've lost the key, you can't open your cells. You can't stuff in any more of that energy because it's either already full or it's overflowing, meaning that not only have you got enough energy in all your cells, you can't pack in anything more. You start storing it. You start storing it on your belly, won't you? On your thighs, on your hips and all those places. But more importantly, you'll start storing it around your organs, really. And that's the sort of fat we really don't want to be storing, because that has got health implications. And just to describe it with a metaphor for you, you can think about it as all these cells where you just, let's say that you went on a shopping spree and you want to put your clothes away that you just bought in your shopping spree. You're opening all the cupboards and trying to fit in more clothes. But if the cupboards are already full, well, what can you do with that surplus amount of clothes? Well, you can't really do a lot with them. So once they've circulated around in your bloodstream, you're going to store them somewhere. And that is how it works, right? So just know that when you eat something, if there's no room in your cells to accommodate the energy, you'll start storing it. And what happens with the carbs and sugar I just mentioned is that whether you're eating oatmeal or refined sugar, you're going to release more insulin than if you're eating a steak or let's say a leek, right? So your insulin response is going to be a lot higher when you eat carbs and sugar. So that might have your blood sugar levels spike. And every time they spike, it sends a signal to your body to start storing the energy you eat. So a spike in blood sugar means that you start storing, and you start storing everywhere on your body, most importantly, or most dangerously, around your organs. So that's really what we want to change when we want to lose weight, whether you've got diabetes or not. You want to access those stores of energy that you've got all around your body, but that you may not be able to access because your blood sugar is spiking all the time and it's storing away everywhere it can get to. It's just filling up all the cupboards. It's filling up every space on your body, and you haven't got the key to unlock those fat storages, right? You can't get to them for the energy that they contain. So what your body does is just, it keeps asking you for more energy, right? So you might be feeling tired. So feeling tired, feeling like you need some sugar to keep going, you send out these cravings for sugar. And if you satisfy them, well, then your body's happy for a while, isn't it? Because it gets the energy that it's craving, and you can start feeling a little bit more energized. But if you want to lose weight, you really want to get to the energy that you've stored in your fat cells. So I hope that is clear to you. Let's just have a look at what you can do if you really want to balance your blood sugar. You can stop snacking. Why do I want you to stop snacking? You might think, okay, I need so many calories per day. And if you are a fan of diets, then you might have limited that amount of calories. But let's just say you've got an amount of food that you think you can eat in the day. You think that you can spread it out over the day. And if we're just counting calories, well, of course, yes, mathematically speaking, you could just split that out all over the day. But what I recommend is that everything you want to eat in a day, you assemble it in 3 main meals. Why do I want that for you? It's when you want to lose weight, you really want to create moments during your day where your metabolism isn't active. You want to stop the blood sugar spiking. Every time you eat, you're going to activate your insulin, right? So every time you eat, you are potentially asking your body to store it, to stock it, right? If you have the same amount of food, if you have the same amount of calories in 3 separate meals with hours in between each meal, all that energy, you will have to access it, right? You will have to learn how to get to those places in your body where you've stored the energy in case you need it between meals. If you keep feeding your body extra energy through snacks all through the day, why should your body go and take out the extra energy that's really hard to get to? It's much more easy to say, hello, hello, I need some sugar now, please feed me, please feed me. And if you do so, your body gets used to having all that available energy ready there for it to consume. If you tell it, okay, you just had a massive meal, you've got enough energy to keep you going till dinner time, let's say, so just keep going. Well, it will have to figure out how it can get to the energy that you have stored. Do you see what I mean? It hasn't got any new and easy energy to consume. It will have to find the way. It will have to go looking in your body so that it can access those fat cells that you want to be using for energy, right? That's why I don't want you to snack in between meals. When you eat carbs, when you eat sugar, please eat them with some fiber, because the fiber sort of limits the spike in your blood sugar. So fibers are what you find in green vegetables, in whole grain. When you've got fiber, it prevents your blood sugar from spiking. And remember, spiking blood sugar means that you store the energy. And when I say you store the energy, it means that you store energy in the form of fat. So that's what you want to avoid. So always have vegetables or whole grain, whatever you're having, with your meal, right? Also, make sure you're adequately hydrated, because we're looking at our cell health. We are never any healthier than our cells. And our cells need water to function optimally. So you want to be always making sure that you're not dehydrated, right? Really think about it. Drink enough water. And I know that lots of health experts say you have to drink so and so much water, but I think it's much more useful for you to think, am I thirsty? Do I want to drink? And I say water so that you don't go and have a soda or anything like that. Because in my weight loss programs, I really don't use sodas. I don't use anything that is synthetically chemical, right? And in sodas, you've got a lot of things that really put a spanner in the wheels of your metabolism. So you really want to avoid those, but that's a whole different conversation. But just make sure you're adequately hydrated. Water is really the best solution. Also, feeling stress. Stress is incompatible with weight loss. When you're feeling stressed out, your body isn't thinking about digesting. It's not thinking about how to function optimally. It's just thinking about having you survive. And digestion is not really part of survival. You're more in a fight or flight mode when you feel stressed out. Stress is a chemical reaction in your body, and you can't fight it, right? You can't force your body really to use everything you give it in the shape of energy efficiently if you're cutting off lots of functions through stress. So your first thing really, if you take nothing else away from today, is my next 2 points here: reduce your stress and get good sleep. Because these two things might have you lose weight without changing anything else. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. It's when it gets in to repair everything that has gone wrong during the day. So imagine depriving it of sleep. Imagine depriving it of enough time to do its repair work. I mean, you can't deprive it of that time and expect it to lose weight, can you? You can't deprive it of that time and expect it to function optimally. Do you see what I mean? So really prioritize your well-being, right? Have a look at how you can reduce your stress. Think of your breathing. I would start with the breathing, hop on the internet and find out anything that would be compatible with your lifestyle that you can start doing just to calm down, especially before going to sleep. And then make sure you do go to sleep, right? Make sure that you have got the time to sleep through like 7 or 8 or even 9 hours. Really make that a priority in your life. And exercise regularly. Now, if you don't like exercise, we're not going to go into this a lot. We will in my next point. But if you exercise regularly, it will improve your mood, first of all. It will also lower your stress levels, and it will help you sleep. So any kind of exercise, it could be a walk. I mean, if you're not doing any exercise at all, maybe you would just like to consider going out for a walk. A 10-minute walk would really do the trick, right? So these are some of the ways where you can balance your blood sugar. And at the end of this training, I am going to offer you a free session with me. And this is something we could have a look at, how you could balance your blood sugar, because of course there are many other things you can do, but it gets to be a little bit detailed. These are things that would work for most people. So have a look at that. We can look more in detail if you do go ahead and take one of my sessions that I'm offering at the end. My second step is to speed up your metabolism. Your metabolism is just a word for like how you transform the energy that goes into your body, how you use it, how you burn it. So whether I say metabolize or burn, it really means the same thing. We talk about calories. Calories is just a scientific unit for a specific amount of energy. And we're going to not go into calories a lot because I don't find them very interesting, but I am going to use them as an example. We need to speed up your metabolism because all through life, our metabolism slows down, especially after 40. I mean, it can start earlier, but it really slows down naturally. So that doesn't mean there's anything wrong, but it does mean that we have to do something to speed it up again. We can't accept it, right? We can't accept that our metabolism gets slower and slower and slower, meaning that we are not using all the energy that is available to us. It gets sluggish metabolism. It gets to be really lazy. So we need to speak to it very, very loudly. So with age, it slows down. Also, when we've been on a calorie restrictive diet, when we've been limiting the amount of food we eat, it slows the metabolism down. So I just wanted to give you a few examples here. A woman at 40 who've never dieted, well, she can eat without doing any crazy amount of exercise, without doing anything other than what we do in our sedentary lifestyles, like sitting in front of the computer, many of us, or not having a lot of physical exercise in the day. She can eat between 2,200 and 2,400 calories per day without putting on weight. A woman at 40 who's just accomplished or just finished her first calorie restrictive diet, well, she can actually only eat between 2,000 and 2,200 calories. So you can see, well, she's taking off the potential of 200 calories per day I'm talking about. And have a look at this. A woman at 40 who's been on and off diets for a while, maybe that's you, it certainly used to be me, she has seriously slowed down her metabolism and she can only eat under 2,000 calories per day without putting on weight. And why is that a problem? It's because if you eat under 2,000 calories per day, it's not actually enough to maintain optimal body functions. Your body needs more than that, right? So the whole problem with this, with the calories is that, or with the calories, with the energy we consume, is that it's no use consuming the energy, having the energy in your body if your body can't get to it, right? If it doesn't know where to go and get it. So you really have to be very aware of, am I actually storing everything I eat? Am I eating enough? But because the paradoxical thing here is that you could be eating not enough and still not lose weight, just because your metabolism has slowed down. And this works with your subconscious too, I'd like to say. And the image I'd like to give to you is having a bank account. I presume everybody here's got a bank account. Maybe you've even got a savings account. At least I hope you do. A gorgeous savings account full of money. Now, if you've got a savings account, maybe you're saving up for something in particular, or maybe you're saving up for an emergency, but you don't want to be spending that money in your savings account for everyday life. You don't want to be spending it on your shopping, on paying your bills, right? You want to either spend it on what it is you're saving up for or have it ready for an emergency. This could be how your subconscious thinks about the calories you're offering it, about the energy, about the food. It could be thinking, let's just keep all this for an emergency. This woman just went on a diet. I don't know why she did that. I didn't have enough food. I didn't have enough energy to maintain all the cells in our body. I didn't have enough to work with. So let me just store everything. Let me not take anything out of the savings account. Let me just keep putting money into that account and never take anything out. That could be how your subconscious is seeing all this, and it's not how you want it to see it, is it? Because you want it to just open that savings account and use all of it. And the savings account is a metaphor for the fat you've stored on your body. You want it open, you want it to be readily available. You want your metabolism to overspend, right? You want it to clean out your savings account. You want it to hover really on the deficit is what you want. But you need to tell it so, because our bodies have been designed to keep us alive. And if you've been exposing it to diets, if you've been depriving it of fuel, well, of course, it's going to be very suspicious of all this. It's going to want to hoard all the calories it can, right? So it won't maintain your cells as well as an up to speed metabolism. You might be feeling tired. You might be feeling sluggish, and that's when that brain fog gets in. You might be feeling not really in the mood for exercise. And this is because your metabolism is gearing down all the time. It's just really concentrating on necessary bodily functions. Everything that can wait, it will have it wait. And that's what we want to change. So we really have to speak to it differently. And let me just tell you how you can speak to it differently so that you can get it up and running again at full speed. You can build muscle. 2 pounds of muscle burn 50 calories, whereas 2 pounds of fat tissue burn 2 calories. So you really want the muscle. Only when you hit 40, perhaps even before, your muscles just start dwindling. They start, well, getting smaller and smaller. So if you just leave it at that, you are slowing down your metabolism too through the lack of muscle. So you really have to build up muscle. There are many ways of doing that, and I'll talk to you about that when I talk about exercise in a little while. You want to teach it how to burn fat for fuel, because even if you're exercising now, maybe you are going out for runs, you, I don't know, maybe you're doing some what's it called? I can't remember. I'm thinking in French right now, sorry. If you're doing any exercise where you get out of breath, any exercise where you can't have a normal conversation, you are burning sugar and not fat. And maybe you want to burn sugar, right? If you've just had a big cake, maybe you want to go out and burn that sugar off. But if you're wanting to lose weight, you want to be also able to burn fat. And it's not the same kind of exercise that you want to be doing. It's not the same kind of exercise that has you burn sugar. Sugar is easy to burn. Fat needs oxygen to be burnt. And if you're out of breath, like let's say you're jogging, you're running, you're out of breath, well, you'll be burning sugar and not fat, because the fat needs oxygen available to be burnt. So, of course, if you go out running for more than an hour, you will switch on to burning fat, but it will take an hour, right? If you want to lose weight, you want to get into your fat stores and you want to be burning that fat now, right from the minute you start exercising, if you see what I mean. You don't want to be having to exercise 1 hour, unless, of course, you love exercising, in which case it's fab. Just to let you know that most kinds of exercise, of course, good for our health, but not all kinds of exercise make us lose fat, make us lose weight, right? You also, if you want to speed up your metabolism, you want to make peace with feeling hunger, right? This is a little bit psychological and we will talk about it in a minute, but if you are feeling any fear around feeling hunger, if you think I'm going to pass out, or if you think there's something wrong, I'm feeling hunger, then you'll always be preventing your body from going into those fat stores and using those. If you eat every time you have a hunger pang, you'll be giving your body easy energy, and it won't bother to go and look for all the hard to get energy that you've stored everywhere on your body, if you see what I mean. So you really want to make peace with hunger. Hunger lasts for 10 minutes. Once you've stabilized your blood sugar, once your metabolism is working, of course, once everything is working optimally in your body, your hunger won't last for very long. It will be a short moment in time where you'll be feeling the hunger. Hunger in that context will last for 10 minutes. If you can sit out those 10 minutes without feeding your body sugar, you'll be teaching it how to get to your fat stores. And it will. It really will. But if you throw spanners into the wheels of your metabolism, if you start sabotaging it by providing always new and easily available energy, it won't. It really won't. So at some point, if you want to get into your fat stores, you have to be willing to feel the hunger. So it's much easier to regulate all of this once you've balanced your blood sugar. That's why step number 1 is to balance your blood sugar. So you're not going from high to low, to high, to low, to high, to low. You want it nice and stable. And from that vantage point, you can feel the hunger and not have it destroy you. Obviously, there's a psychological part to that too, which we'll be going into in a minute. So I've really talked about teaching it to burn all the calories you eat. If everything in your body is working optimally, if you've got that metabolism up and going, it will just automatically burn whatever you eat, even when you have a big meal. I just think, oh, wonderful, all this energy, let me just burn it all off. Let me just metabolize all of it. It won't be thinking of storing it, right? It will just use it all. It won't be putting it into that savings account I used for an image earlier, right? It will just use it all. It won't be bothered about storing. So that obviously has got to do a lot with your mindset around this, with your subconscious. But let me dive into step number 3, which is curbing your comfort eating. So you might think, oh no, I only eat when I'm hungry. But then are you able to be hungry? Can you sit out your hunger for 10 minutes or not? Right? So let me just dive into this a little bit. Comfort eating is everything you eat to avoid feeling your emotions. And we all do this, I think. We all have some buffering in place, right? And that's okay. But let's just turn our awareness onto it. Let's just learn from it, right? Let's just have a look at what's really going on without judging ourselves. Because we say, oh, I comfort eat. Oh, that must mean I'm somebody really weak. It needn't. Just stay with me. So when you eat for comfort, you typically don't eat salad, do you? You don't eat spinach. You go for the carbs, you go for the sugar. And you're right to, because when you eat those, they secrete happiness hormones, right? So you've got those happiness hormones lifting your mood, which is when you feel the relief. That feels so good. But as over time, you'll need to increase the amount of carbs or sugar you eat to get the same effect. So can you see how this is a slippery slope, right? Much better to feel your feelings, and not have them destroy you. So how do you do that? You identify the feeling that you want to avoid. Like when you can feel a feeling coming on and you grab whatever it is that you are prone to eat, whether it's a donut or ice cream or whatever you like to binge on, whatever you like to eat, so that you just calm down and the pain of that feeling is not so great. You try to identify exactly what feeling it is. Let's say the feeling you want to avoid is inadequacy. So once we've just identified it, and again, we're not judging it, right? We're not condemning anything. We're not condoning anything. We're just observing. We're just noticing. Oh, the feeling I'm trying to avoid is the feeling of inadequacy. Look at what triggers it. Why do you feel that that feeling is coming on, and why is it imperative that you avoid it? What triggers it? And the trigger is what happens just before that feeling comes on. It could be your boss yelling at you. It could even be your teenage son saying something horrible to you, right? That triggers that feeling. Oh, am I not good enough? Am I inadequate? I'm not a good mother. Whatever it is, right? What is it that's triggering it? And you can make a whole list of this if you want to be a little bit systematic about it. Like, you can make a whole list of possible triggers so that you know, oh, this is happening. Oh, I'm going to feel the feeling of inadequacy, but instead of stifling it, I'm going to allow it. I'm actually going to allow it to course through my body. I'm going to be with it. I'm going to feel it. And a feeling lasts no longer than 1 minute and a half. Even anger, if you're not renewing it, if you don't keep coming back to it, if you're just sitting here and you're feeling an emotion, it's really, I think it's even impossible, scientifically speaking, to be feeling that emotion for more than 1 minute and a half. So if you can keep that in mind and allow yourself to feel the feeling you are trying to avoid, knowing that it will only take a minute and a half. And if you can tell yourself, I'm feeling this feeling. If I'm feeling this feeling, it means that I am not this feeling. You don't identify with it. You just know that you are the person who is momentarily feeling inadequate, sad, angry, whatever it is. You're just feeling it for one moment and you will transit out of it, especially if you don't hang on to it, if you're not justifying it. I'm right to feel angry because she just told me this, or he just said that, or this just happened. If you're not working on it intellectually, if you're managing just to stay in your body and just feeling where it is in your body, it will actually go through you and out of you. That's how you feel your feelings. You stay with them, right? They won't destroy you because you're made to feel feelings. Feelings are just chemical reactions in your body, right? You can allow yourself to be with them really intensely and they will get out. The problem with our feelings is that we make them mean something about us. We make them mean, I'm inadequate, I'm not enough, I will never be good enough. Whatever the story is you're telling yourself about that feeling, you can change it. You really can. Think about it. If feeling inadequate didn't mean that I was a bad mother, what could it mean? What could it really mean? What could I make it mean? I could make it mean that sometime in my past, I was made to feel inadequate. And now I think I have to bring this feeling into my present all the time. What if I didn't have to feel that? What if my boss yelling at me meant something about my boss and not about me and my capacities and my capabilities? What if my son saying something horrible to me was just his hormone speaking? What if that was his story and not mine, right? So we can change the story we have around that. And once we do that, we really don't have to be telling the same story. But obviously, I realize that this is a very short time to take on all this information. A different way of approaching it is if you could start just feeling into the freedom of no longer feeling compelled to eat something. If you no longer felt the pull towards that ice cream, if you could just have that ice cream sit on the table in front of you, or that donut like that, or that chocolate, or that glass of wine, if it could just be there on the table and you would not even want it, right? You would definitely not need it. Maybe in a different context, you would desire it, you would want to eat it or drink it. But right now, you're fine. You can just say, thank you, no, thank you. You don't need it. Ask yourself, what would be different in my life? What would be different? I mean, how would you feel? I mean, I feel immense freedom when I'm not in that needy energy. I would feel actually in charge. I don't need that stuff. I've got it all. There's nothing from the outside I need. I'm good here. I can feel my emotions and have that be okay. So what would be different in your life? Would you feel the freedom? Would you feel more empowered? Perhaps you'd be feeling more confident, right? Because the less things or stuff you need, the more independent you are, right? Think about in your life, who other than you would be impacted from you not needing that food? Who other? Maybe your husband, maybe your kids, whatever. Who other would be impacted? And how would you live your life if you felt confident, if you were not dependent? How would you live your life Or what would your life be like if food wasn't getting in the way all the time? What really would you be doing? And I think, well, for me, like I felt so confident. I felt so confident that I just feel I can take on anything, right? There's nothing I need to really to do or be or have. I just feel, okay, bring it on. Like I'm ready. I can feel my feelings. I don't need to buffer. I don't need the food. I'm okay as it is, right? And before I finish my presentation here, I wanted to recommend 2 books. So maybe you have already got diabetes. Maybe you've got diabetes type 2, in which case I would invite you to read Dr. Jason Fung's book, The Diabetes Code. Even if you haven't got diabetes, if you're heavily overweight, or even if you're vaguely overweight, I would recommend it. I think it's really so refreshing to know that there's so much hope out there. There's so much we can change. There really is so much we can do. And the other book I want to recommend is Gary Taubes' Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It, because he explains everything really so magnificently. It's really easy to understand. Obviously, these are layman's book. You don't need to be scientific to understand it. It's really explained very, very easy to understand. And if you want to go deeper, please go ahead, make a screenshot or write down these titles: Gary Taubes, Why We Get Fat, and Dr. Jason Fung, The Diabetes Code. I can really only recommend them. So I promised you that I would be giving out a free session, even several free sessions, if you want to dive deeper with me. In this session, I won't be coaching you because I will be, well, actually, you'll be telling me everything that you're doing that you feel has not worked in your weight loss journey, so that I can tell you why it's not working, and I can ask you lots of questions so that I can recommend what you could do that would be working. So I'm going to ask you lots of questions, and it's a little bit like being at the doctor's. I'm not a doctor, right? But I ask you lots of questions that will help me identify exactly what's not working, and then give you some tools to what would be working, some tips that you can start implementing straight away. My intention is that you really start this weight loss journey full of confidence, knowing that it is possible. If you haven't already succeeded in losing weight, it's because you haven't been doing what's working for you, and we're all different, right? What works for me might not work for you. So you'll be leaving this session with action steps that you can start implementing straight away. It's not about eating some strange supplements or changing everything in your life, like from A to Z. It's about those few steps that you can start doing straight away. And obviously, I will be telling you also, if you want to coach with me on your weight loss, I will be telling you about what that could look like. I just put into the chat a link that you can click on, and you can go and grab one of those sessions for next week. Please go ahead and book a time for us to talk. So as I said, it's not a coaching session. It's a session where I get to meet you, so I can really tell you what is not working in what you're doing and what could be working for you, right? And how you can start doing it. It's all about taking action. And if you could take action today, well, what better way than really using this momentum that we've got going here? I overloaded you possibly with information, and that's why I'm going to invite you to ask me questions. So either you can unmute yourself, or you can just pop your questions into the chat. The chat is at the bottom of your screen, whether you're on your phone or on your computer. Go ahead and ask me questions, either about what I just said, any of the 3 steps. So the first step was balancing your blood sugar. The second step was speeding up your metabolism. And the third step was curbing your comfort eating. And I was just having a thought there. That's why I hesitated. And it's really just to let you know that there's some things that need to be in place before you can even start or attempt to lose weight. And this is so individual. That's why all the diets you see in magazines, they're so general that, well, they may work for somebody who wants to lose, like, let's say, more than 50 pounds, right? They would work for these people, but there are better ways of losing weight, and restricting what you eat down to almost nothing is never one of them, right? Never. So obviously, if you eat enormous amounts of food every day, that is where we would start, right? That's where we would start getting a feel of, well, what does it look like to eat what you need, what your body actually needs? What would that look like? But I also have clients who come to me who are over-exercising, right? They really want to lose weight, and they think doing more of what is not working is what will get them working, is what will get them to lose weight. And it might not be so. It's rarely a case of doing more of what is not working, and that will have it work. It's about doing something differently. And we have a look at that both physiologically, but also mentally. What is going on in your mindset? What is it that is really preventing you? I'm sorry, I've got a fly flying around me. What is really preventing you from releasing that weight? Because sometimes it's really a question of getting inside our own minds and looking at all the craziness we are telling ourselves about our self-image, about our bodies. It's really a question of going inside and shining a light on what's going on. It's not about necessarily what you're eating. It's more about all the feelings you're having around it. It's more about the self-criticism that is happening. So weight loss doesn't start in the same place for everybody. It can be completely different. So there's no size fits all, as I'm sure you've seen with our bodies, right? So please feel free to ask me questions. I can't see any questions coming up. Maybe I need to refresh my screen. Let me know if you're finding it difficult to get through to the link where you can book. I'll just show you what it looks like if you want to book one of the sessions with me that I'm gifting. And this is a free session, right? It's a free session where you get onto this online scheduler and you just pick a time. Pick a time that suits you. We're going to meet up for 1 hour. So please have an hour free ahead of you, an hour where we can go into what's really getting in your way, like your obstacles to weight loss. And I'm going to ask you a lot of juicy questions, and you will leave that session with action steps. And of course, if I feel that you need extra help, I will tell you so. But it's a no strings attached session. You will be leaving it with actionable steps, right? You will want to start implementing some of this. So let me know if there's something preventing you from accessing this site. Let me know if you've got any questions. Questions about where you think you should start your weight loss? Yes. Yes, Nell, you will have access to the recording as soon as possible, because I was talking about the importance of momentum. So my team is going to have the replay out as soon as possible. We do have to download it and upload it again. That could take a little bit of time, but you will have access to it, and feel free to go through it straight away and then act on it, take action on it. When you take action immediately, then you've got your subconscious already involved with this, right? You've got the momentum going, you feel motivated, you feel empowered, you can actually go ahead and do something straight away, right? So weight loss needn't be complicated. It's very simple. And the only reason we find it's not easy is because, well, our minds get in the way. There's so many ways of losing weight. If you don't like exercise, well, you can lose weight without exercising. If you like exercise, well, then you can lose weight without changing what you eat. But if you are working on weight loss with me, I'm all for natural foods, right? I'm for eating things that haven't been chemically modified, so that we know what we're eating. And so we don't eat any of those chemicals like colorants or preservatives, like anything that has been modified in the real food, because all these mess up our metabolism. It's very, very difficult to talk to your metabolism if it's just clogged up with all these chemicals that we put into our ready-made food, right? So all my clients work with real food. So things we have to transform ourselves, like we have to cook ourselves. So there's nothing ready-made really that we can be using in what we want to eat when we want to slim down. So that doesn't mean we can't ever eat it. What I have my clients do is that we have 2 feast days in the week where we get to eat everything that we love to eat. Because in our minds, sometimes we think, oh, if I start losing weight, it will mean that I won't be able to eat what I want. And that is never the case. Of course, you should be eating what you want to eat, right? We're just making it possible for you to eat what you want to eat, all while you're losing weight. Okay. So I've got a question. My 32-year-old son has skinny diabetes. Do these books help this style of diabetic? Well, it explains what happens in the body. It doesn't give you like the roadmap to losing weight. It's not about, or Dr. Fung's book is not about, it doesn't give you the method, if you see what I mean. It explains what's happening. And if he wants more awareness around it, but if he has got skinny diabetes, I do suggest that you take medical advice. What I'm giving you is just nutrition. I'm a nutritionist and coach. So I'm not a medical doctor. And I do suggest with skinny diabetes that you seek adequate medical advice, please. You're welcome. You're more than welcome. Any questions on the books? There's a really funny passage in Gary Taub's book where he talks about it's a little bit the same thing as my metaphor with the savings account. Only he explains what's going on in our bloodstreams with our blood sugar. And he's likening that to towns where all the inhabitants are putting out garbage. They're putting out garbage into the street. And it's okay as long as this garbage is being collected by the garbage collectors and it's being driven to the dump site or whatever. But at one point, there's too much garbage, right? They can't fit in any more garbage in the dump. So they start, well, the garbage just stays on the road. And then they start stuffing it into everybody's houses, like just opening the door and throwing in garbage, closing it quickly again. And that also explains all what's happening in our bodies when we have been eating too much and that our bodies are no longer able to process whatever we are feeding it. Right, so it's quite fun. It's easy to understand. I enjoyed reading it. Maybe you will too, and it will help you understand. Let me know if you've got any problems with accessing the calendar to make an appointment. Again, this appointment is 1 hour where I won't be coaching you on your weight loss. I'll just be sort of writing you the prescription really for your weight loss. I'll be telling you what's not working, why it's not working, and what you could be doing instead. I don't see why you wouldn't want to avail yourself of that. I'm also including that link in the replay that goes out. So feel free to dive into the replay. I've got the impression that I overload it with information. I just really wanted it to be useful for you. So let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. Anything I didn't explain well? Anything you'd want to have explained differently? I'd be very happy to. So if you take nothing else away from this session, please start with lowering your stress levels and getting enough sleep. I would start there. Brilliant. You're welcome now. Great. Lovely. So as I said in the replay, you can go back over it, get whatever details you want to get down and start practicing today. Really start doing it. Knowing it is not enough, right? We sometimes think that, oh, I know this, it's good, but it's putting it into action, isn't it? That's really what gets to be difficult sometimes. Lovely. Thank you, Lisa, for telling me. Oh, I'm looking forward to meeting you too. Lovely. Great. Thank you for telling me that. So maybe see you soon. If not, I hope this has been useful for you. I hope that it has inspired you to take action. You don't have to have any weight issues, right? You don't have to have a poor self-image. You don't have to be judging yourself, right? Really, your weight doesn't say anything about you. It really doesn't. It really doesn't, unless you make it so. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, for having spent this hour with me. Thank you for gifting me your time. I'm looking forward to meeting you in a session. Thank you very much. Bye for now.